everybody, Sarah with you today. So this month for May, on Technique Tuesday, we are doing mini albums. Now in my scrap room, there are 2 ongoing mini album projects. I sometimes do one-off mini albums as well, and usually I give those as gifts. But in my scrap room, daily documenting, I have 2 right now that are in progress. So the first one is a traveler's notebook. I always keep traveler's notebooks yearly. I usually do 2 or 3 a year. And inside of these traveler's notebooks, I put little stories, things that I want to remember, things that I want to journal about, but are maybe not for an entire large scrapbook page. I'm always mindful of real estate in my 12 by 12 scrapbook albums because I already have behind me over 80 completed albums. 80. So as my life has changed, as my boys have grown, I have kind of changed some of the things that I document in a 12 by 12 album versus a smaller project. And I really enjoy these smaller projects. So always a traveler's notebook, usually 2 or 3 a year, depending on how busy or depending on how much I want to journal about. And this is primarily where the words go. Quite often, not always, but quite often this is where the words go. The second project that is in my scrapbook room right now is this 6x8 album from 49th and Market. So this album is still available over at A Cherry on Top. So I wanted to kind of show you this one and work in this one a little bit. So back in January, my husband, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. There we go. My husband purchased for me a subscription to Ancestry.com. I love history. I love stories. I love historical stories. Love them. I read historical fiction. I'm a history person. So I have been having the best time looking into my personal history. So I have like a little title page here that describes pretty much everything I just told you. And then I have this book, which is divided into sections. Right now, it's divided into my mother's side of the family, and my father's side of the family. And that will probably change as my journey continues. This book doesn't have a lot of pictures in it. It has a lot of like the documenting, especially of people that maybe I don't have a lot of pictures for. So that's what we're going to do today. Some of these stories are sad and a little hard, and I'm okay with it. So I'm going to do 2 pages in my Ancestry album today. Let's pull this back a little bit. The first page is going to be this 3x8 pocket, and this is my great-grandfather's obituary. I don't have a picture of him at all. So I just have his obituary, and I'm going to do a page on one side and then a page on the other side talking about what I know of him. And that will be that one. And then the second page I'm going to do today is this one. So when you buy these lovely 49th and Market albums, they come with some like fold out pictures, fold out pages. I'm going to do a little fold out pages, and this is going to be kind of like an in remembrance page. And I will talk about this story a little bit more as I work through my pages today. So that is my plan for today. I'm going to be doing this little fold out piece, and I'm going to be doing this 3x8 picture or pocket page. And then I've been using lots and lots of my 49th and Market supplies for these pages. I feel like they really lend themselves, the products lend themselves really well to these types of pages. So for today's pages, hold on a second, I have pulled out the Avesta collection, which some of this is still available in the shop, which I found to be surprising. I went ahead and looked at what was available so that I could bring you a process that had products you could get if you wanted. So a lot of the Avesta collection is still in the shop. And I have quite a bit of it here in my stash, so we're going to go ahead and use that. And then I also have this beautiful gingham fabric tape. I love 49th and Market's fabric tape, and this is also still available in the shop. And the Avesta fabric tape as well. So we're gonna use those products today, and I'm gonna go ahead and work through these 2 pages with you. So when I went ahead and went through my Avesta collection, I had almost an entire 6x paper pad. So I thought immediately, you know what, let's just go through that, and I will go ahead and use that to cut all the paper that I will need for my pocket pages. So the first page I'm going to work on here is my great-grandfather's obituary. I do not have any photographs of him. I haven't come across any in my family or anything. So I wanted to make sure that I included his obituary because it does have some good information about his life. Things like he was a civil engineer, which I didn't know, and things like that. I matted it using this green paper. I'm inking everything using Vintage Photo Distress Oxide ink. And you saw me there kind of tear that scrap of paper after I matted my photo. And that scrap paper is going to actually be part of my page. I'm going to keep these pages pretty simple. So I'm going to start here just by trimming down the 6x8 paper. So once I had my pattern paper cut down, I'm going to go ahead and take that scrap, ink it up, and place it across the top of my page. Then I'm going to go ahead and take this obituary and I'm going to pop it onto the page. Again, keeping things super simple. For embellishments on this page, I'm just going to grab a couple of the laser cut elements and cluster them around the top page, or around the top above my photo. I want to make sure both sides of my pocket page line up, and I'm also going to fling my pencil around my desk. So I'm just making a pencil mark here so I know where I need to cut this paper. So the whole point of this little mini album is my ancestry journey. So I definitely want to make sure to journal and write in this book as I put these pages together and kind of give my thoughts on the things that I find and the people that I discover. And so that's what this part of this page is going to be. So the front of the pocket page is going to be the obituary, and then the back is going to be more of a journaling spot. I'm going to go ahead and use some of the fabric tape from 49th and Market. I love this tape. The only bit of advice I do have for you is that when you start to unroll it, sometimes some of the adhesive that's on the back of the fabric tape kind of sticks to the top of your tape. It rubs off super easy though. So when you put the fabric tape on, just give it a good rub across the front to get the little like goo balls off, and you'll be set. I decided that I'm going to use this for my journaling. In fact, I'm going to use this large ephemera piece to journal both of the pages that I'm going to work on today. There's this little die cut piece I found in the ephemera bag that says remember, which is perfect for the top of this page that I'm journaling on. And then I'm going to use a couple more of the ephemera pieces and create some clusters. Now you can see there I have some pieces off to the side that need to be fussy cut. I'm going to fussy cut them. So one of the coolest things about 49th and Market is their packaging always has usable elements on the back. So you're not wasting the packaging. The packaging isn't something you just toss away. It's actually really useful, and I love that. I went ahead and fussy cut the elements from that packaging, and now I'm just going to create some clusters. So basically, I'm going to create 2 clusters, one in the top left and one in the bottom right of my page here, and I'm going to use basically the same things and just kind of have them go off the edge. You can kind of see how I did with this frame. Part of the frame is on the bottom right, and then part of the frame is on the top left. And that's just a really nice way to have both of my clusters be cohesive, kind of match each other, things like that. And then I'm just going to go ahead and adhere these flowers to my page and finish up these clusters. And then we're going to call this layout done. I had pulled this ticket piece that I thought maybe I would use, but in the end it didn't really. Once I had the flowers down, you could tell like it was finished. We didn't need any more added to it. I am enjoying the beautiful outside today. So if you hear birds tweeting in the background, I don't think my microphone is picking them up, but it's really warm, so I kind of have to have the windows open today. So I'm just going to go ahead and get those clusters together, and then I can put them into my page protector. And we can get to work on my second page. So one of the really cool things about these 49th and Market albums is that they come with these inserts that you kind of work outside of the page protector. So they come with a collection of page protectors, but then they also come with these really cool little insert pieces. And I actually have already kind of dedicated certain ancestry stories, certain family stories for each one of the inserts that come in the album. So I wanted to go ahead and do one of those for you today. First thing I did today was to measure the inside and the outside of this insert, and that's going to allow me to know exactly how big to cut these papers down. I measured and cut my papers so that I did have a little bit of that craft cardstock edge around the pages. You wouldn't need to, but it matched. It went with my collection I was using, and I really like the look of the craft inserts and the craft paper, so I went ahead and just decided to go ahead and use those. Okay, so I cut this one down. I loved this for the kind of opening of the insert. So I'm going to ink it up using the Vintage Photo Distress Oxide ink, and then I'm going to go ahead and grab my Misty, and I'm going to stamp the front of my insert, which is the name of my great uncle. So this was my grandmother's brother. I'm going to stamp his name right onto the front of this insert. Again, this is a family member I don't have any pictures of, but he died quite young. He died at 3 years old, and the circumstances of his death were really tragic and really sad. And I thought it was really important to include this story in this album because it's not a story that is really told much in my family, probably for obvious reasons. But you know what, stories like his are kind of the reason I decided to go ahead and embark on this ancestry journey. So he was my great uncle. He died when he was 3 years old, and he got into the medicine cabinet at my great-grandparents' house, and he took some of my great-grandmother's heart medication, and the heart medication contained strychnine. So my great-grandfather actually found him unconscious in their backyard, and they called the doctor, and the doctor came and got him to the hospital. But he passed away from the strychnine. So I don't have any photos of him, but I have the one census documentation that he is on, and I have his death certificate, and there was a front page. It was front page news in the town where he died. So I have the newspaper article, and the newspaper article goes into a lot of detail, which I found incredibly sad, but also interesting from a family kind of point of view. So I'm just making this whole insert is going to be the information I have on him, the documentation I have about him, and then I'm going to add some journaling inside for my own kind of thoughts on the matter. I do remember growing up that especially my grandmother, she was incredibly, like, she kept her medicine cabinet it was like padlocked. Like, you did not touch anything that could even remotely be medicinal. And at the time I had no clue why, but discovering this story and discovering what happened to her brother made me kind of understand a little bit better about why she was like that. So I want to be able to go ahead and definitely kind of talk about that in my journaling. So the front of that insert is done now. Now I'm going to work on the 2 pages on the inside. The first page, I am kind of going to do a half and half page. So the top half is going to be this pretty pink paper, and then the bottom half is going to be covered with some of this gingham fabric tape. I love this fabric tape. It's so much fun. So on the left side of the page, I want to put the newspaper article, and then I'm also going to add some journaling space to that side. I'm going to playing with some of these tags. I have almost an entire pack of the tag set from the Avesta collection, and I'm kind of considering doing like a whole layout with just the tags. So there's that green piece that I used for my great-grandfather's page, and I'm just going to use the other side of it to kind of give myself some room to journal a little bit right there. And then I have the newspaper article, and for just a little bit of an embellishment, I'm just going to add a little laser cut flower on the bottom right there, and then it's going to fit right into that side of this fold out. On the other side, I am going to go ahead and mat these 3 pieces, 3 photos of the documentation that I have about my great uncle. I'm going to put his memorial marker where it shows or tells the location of where his grave is at, and then the one census that he is a part of with the rest of his family, and then his death certificate. Have it all right there. And I'm just going to mat those 3 pieces all together, and then place it on the other side of the fold out. Now I decided I'm going to go ahead and use some of these tags, but I don't want the ribbon that's in these tags. I'm just going to pull the ribbon out. But for a little bit of embellishment, I'm just going to layer up the butterfly tag and this floral tag and tuck them in beside the photos on the right side of this fold out. And then I can adhere it right inside of these fold outs. I really love these fold outs. I really like this album. It's a really good quality album. I like all the page protectors it came with. If I can think of another reason to put together a mini album, I would probably buy another one. Or if I end up having more stories than what will fit in a first album, I probably will get a second one. I'm going to keep the back of the album really simple. I just found this pretty floral paper. I'm going to go ahead and ink it up and just have the back be the plain floral paper. One of the things I'm being mindful of as I do this album is to make sure that if when I choose a page protector and things like that, that I'm working through both sides of the page protector. I don't like the idea of having empty back sides on any of these pages, because I'm never sure what if I don't find a story that will work as the back of one of these pages, things like that. So I'm kind of when I complete the pocket pages, I'm making sure I have enough information and enough things I want to document to do both sides of each of the pocket pages. I'm going to audition and think about maybe putting a little leaf on this page, but in the end, I just leave it exactly the way it is, nice and simple. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have enjoyed all of the Technique Tuesday videos here at A Cherry on Top and all of the fun mini album examples. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, everybody, and I will see you all again next month. Bye.